Hi, my name is Mark and welcome back to Pepple's Potager. So I wanted to give an update on how well things are doing here in the garden at the beginning of August. And we've had a lot of rain recently here at the end of July, beginning of August, and it's pretty much devastated a lot of my tomato plants in the Potager garden. So I just wanted to show everybody what's been going on with those. Also, a tour of what else is going on in the garden right now. I have some sugar cube melons that are doing very well, so I wanted to share those off as well. And so here we go. Okay, so we're going to start off on the patio, and right here to the left we have the pineapple sage, and as you can see it's doing very well. Last year it got up to 4 foot by the time October got here. We have our confetti peppers here, and they're doing very well in this pot. I actually took out the Patio baby eggplant. We just didn't eat a lot of the eggplant, so I finally decided to take it out, and I may plant something else in here for the fall, but haven't decided what I'm going to plant in there yet. And you can see the 4th of July tomatoes are doing very well as always, and they're nearing the top of the stake right now, and so they always do very well. Let's go ahead and walk on around to the other patio pots I have here. And this is another 4th of July tomato plant, all the way to the top of the stake right now. So doing very well. I actually had to put a rock in there up against the pole to actually keep it from leaning over too far. It was actually looked like a leaning tower of tomatoes. It almost fell over. And there's another 4th of July tomato plant. Now this one back here actually got a lot of sartorial leaf spot on it, so I had to trim it up quite a bit. But otherwise doing very well. Now let's go ahead and walk back and take a look at the Potager garden. Here's a look at the woodland garden there. Everything's looking very nice there. And we're going to walk through here. And here we have the Potager garden. As you can see, I still have some carrots growing in this bed. I mostly pulled everything out except for that. And this bed over here got nothing growing in it right now but zinnia on the corners of the beds. I may plant something here for the fall. Not sure what I'm going to plant in here yet. But let's move on over to the tomatoes. And as you can see, I've trimmed up a lot of the tomato plants because of all the rain that we had, and we had a lot of sartorial leaf spot. And looking at the leaves there, you can see what it looks like, and it was pretty much everywhere. We had a lot of rain almost every day for the past week and a half, it seemed like, and so when that happens, you get a lot of leaf spot on your tomatoes. Leaf spot tends to spread from the bottom of the plant up, and as you can see, I trimmed a lot off of here, so I'm going to have to spray it down maybe sometime today to help keep some of this leaf spot at bay, so I can actually get some more tomatoes off of these plants. But as you can see, even though we had a lot of rain and we got a lot of leaf spot, it actually sparked some new growth. So you can see there's some new stems growing out there, and I'm going to let a lot of these new stems grow so we can get some more tomatoes. And a lot of my peppers here are doing very good. These are my banana peppers and the jalapenos. They're doing quite well. Haven't had no problems at all with those. And we're moving back over here to some of the other tomato plants. And you can see we have a lot of stems on there dying because of the leaf spot there as well. And so all this rain that we've had lately has really taken a toll on the tomatoes. But these are the Cherokee purples over here, and they actually are doing a little better than the rest of the plants. And these are the mortgage lifters over here. They got hit by the leaf spot as well. You can see I trimmed up a lot here. But you can also see that there's also a lot of new growth coming up. And right in front of the mortgage lifters, I have some of the California Wonder peppers and some of the Big Dipper peppers, and you can see they're doing very well. They weren't really affected by all the rain. It actually helped them grow quite a bit. And So turning around this way, and we have the blackberry bushes, and they actually did very well for us. There's a lot of new growth on there right now, but we've done picked a lot of blackberries off of these, so we're about done with the blackberries for this year. And still have a few left on there, but some of the birds will probably get a lot of these leftovers here. And turn around this way, we have the sugar cube melons. And as you can see, the vines on the sugar cube melons are spreading all over the place. They spread up to the trellis like I wanted them. And we've already got some melons forming on there. You can see I got one sugar cube melon there, two right there, one larger one, and then one small one there that'll probably grow into a melon. We have a few down here, and then one over here on this side, one right there. So the sugar cube melons are doing very good for me right now. And the reason I planted the sugar cube melons was because supposedly it's supposed to be highly disease resistant and is resistant to a lot of powdery mildew. So I had a lot of problems with powdery mildew last year. So right now it looks like this is doing great. No powdery mildew at all. I haven't seen any powdery mildew in my garden this year, so that's great. Also, right now, I don't really have a lot of squash growing in the garden. I actually planted the squash late, and normally I plant them at the end of this bed here and on the other side of the bean trellis, but I planted most of the squash late, and a lot of the squash borers got into the vines and killed them early. So didn't get a lot of squash this year. I'm kind of disappointed about that, but because we don't get our first frost till the end of October, I may go ahead and try to plant some, but I haven't really decided that yet. But let's go ahead and move on down here. This here on the bean trellis this year, I'm growing Triunfo Valletta pole beans, and this is a purple green bean. As you can see, they're starting to do very well. They were slow to take off at first, and they're now starting to fill out the trellis here in August. And so I'm pleased about how well they're turning out now. At first I really didn't think they were going to do well, but you can see they have some nice purple flowers on them, and quite a few green beans coming out now. So doing very well. And at the bottom of the bean arbor here, I have a lot of marigolds. I grow them there every year. They seem to help keep some pests away, but not all of them. You can see I got quite a few holes in some of the bean leaves there, but otherwise doing very well. I think a lot of those holes were actually done by the Japanese beetles, but I think they're pretty much gone now, or almost gone. And over here on this side of the bean arbor, you can see I have one zucchini plant that was left out of all the squash plants that got hit by the squash borers, but I really haven't gotten much off of this. This is actually a sure thing zucchini, and supposedly you're supposed to get zucchini off of these without pollination. And as you can see, I do have maybe one squash in there, but so far it hasn't produced very well, so I'm not really happy with how well it's been producing. And so I may not grow this, try growing this again. And now we're going to move on over here to where I'm growing the corn in raised beds. And as you can see, the corn's doing very well. I did have a problem with some strong storms blowing the corn down a few weeks into it, but they're doing very well now, and they're standing on their own. They can withstand a lot of the storms that come through. So doing very good right now. You can see I'm growing some cucumbers around them as well, and these plants are doing pretty good. This is actually called, these cucumbers are called Bragger hybrids, and they can produce a lot of cucumbers off of one plant. I've read up to maybe 60 per plant, but right now it's pretty small. Not a lot of cucumbers on there. The one plant down here I actually have at least 2 cucumbers on. I have one there growing, and then another one right here. So not doing too bad. And then moving around to the other side of the corn bed here, we have some Scarlet Spire apple trees, and we planted these in April, and so far they're doing really good. They've actually doubled in size so far this year, and hopefully next year we'll be getting some apples off of these. And